Here is all the text messages between Todd and I in the period that I'll be discussing. And so I'll scroll to the beginning of both and try to get them both in the same shot. Of course, you can just pause it and read them at your leisure. I'm not going to sit there and spend a ton of time on them individually. Some of them are quite long. I'll leave that one there for a bit so someone can pause it. Stop that one there. See if you can get the first one there first. Sorry about that. I've just got to take it from the top again. I lost it. So I'll scroll back down to where I was. This is right after he had where you're going to hear him lying and claim that I was unreachable for 5 days and all that stuff. This is me directly communicating with him as I promised at 3:30 after the court hearing. So I showed him, that was in fact what happened at the court hearing and called him back. So let's see. I'll move through these ones. And this is me just kind of, getting on his case about how I was treated and how it was just absolutely wrong. And this is exactly what happened. You're not going to see him deny any of that. You're not going to see him say that was inaccurate. You're not going to see him say that that was somehow off base. It's exactly what happened. He doesn't attempt to even deny it. Okay, so oh, I got out of the thing somehow. That's a screenshot I sent him of all the calls and things that I'd have going on. Another screenshot I sent him. Another screenshot. These are me just basically showing him that I, in fact, have been calling these people back. In one case, I didn't even have a thing, number to reach into that. And now he's saying, please call me, I can explain. You know, so, you know, he feels he has some explaining to do. You'll hear me. This is in regards to this. Please call me, I can explain. And so, oh, let me get back up. I went too far. Okay, so I'll go through this one a little bit. It's important to show these too, because I'm going to reference a lot of these text messages and what I'm saying, so I wanted to have them available for somebody to actually read, pause the screen, and see what was actually said. And then make your own judgment as to whether or not you felt I was being communicative or adequately communicating or blowing him off as he told the judge I was doing, which is a complete lie. And these are just text messages. I haven't gotten to the phone call records. And so, again, this is that period of time where I lost the phone for 2 days, and I showed him I lost it. I took a video of the phone screen when I turned it on and all that kind of thing, just to show him it was lost. I offered him access to my account to show that I hadn't used it in any way. So, some of this is pretty harsh. I mean, I get pretty upset when I found out what he did and let it stay there for so long, and then tried to make me the villain when in fact it was him and his negligence and willfully allowing my family to just absolutely suffer under this horrific situation. Everyone's scared. Everyone's seeing this thing go off like crazy. And as you read way earlier, he knew the problem was there from the very onset. Instead of following procedure and replacing it, he just allowed me to get call after call after call every single day, multiple calls a day. When on average, the government website says that a person subjected to this will have about 3 to 4 calls per month for random issues. Some persons none, but on average 3 or 4. So again, it's unthinkable that a person were called every day, let alone 3 or 4 times a day, like what happened in my case, and sometimes more. You know, it was just really that kind of thing. They had a machine that was completely gone haywire, and then to top it off, Todd confessed that when he took the thing off, he felt as if the officer put it on incorrectly. You see on the band here, it has fiber optic cables that go throughout it, and it can detect whether or not you have it on or whether it's in contact with the human skin, and versus, you know, a sock or not at all. So she put it on so loose. He diagnosed the problem with it was getting all those false reads because of poor placement by the probation officers. Again, nothing that I could have possibly been blamed for or have any culpability in. Just to focus again. Here we go. Just in case that was some focus back there, I'll go back. He tells me, I believe you're ramping up again, you know, getting upset. It's like, yeah, I'm getting upset with legitimate reason to be upset. It's not called ramping up. It's called emotional honesty. you've done something horrible, and I'm responding to what your conduct was. I mean, it's just that kind of thing. You don't tell the victim that they're getting upset. You know, it's like, don't victimize me and I won't get upset. It's kind of simple thing. Oops, that somehow went onto the backboard I built for my kids. And this is the second time he gives me a faulty unit back to back. I mean, what are the odds of that? One person getting 2 broken units back to back. So I mean, it's at this point I have to believe that he's doing this in some kind of malicious way because of what's at stake for him, and what kind of accusations I've made. The fact that he's kind of made it very adversarial. That you know, it's kind of one of those things where either he's right or I'm right, and one of us need to be wrong, and whoever's wrong is quite wrong. You know what I mean? It's not something you could just walk away from. I'm really making some strong accusations that I could substantiate and will, you know, will substantiate. Unlike him, I don't ask or require anyone to trust me or take my word for it. I'm going to actually demonstrate to you exactly what happened in a manner that is going to leave no doubt in anybody's minds. I don't care if you're a fellow U.S. probation officer who's watching this, or a judge, or whomever. When you're done seeing what I produce here, you're going to say, wow, that was definitely a case of somebody getting their rights violated repeatedly, knowingly, and deliberately. And if you're seeing language in here that may be a little bit off-putting about how I'm speaking to the officer of the court, just consider something that him and I have had dealings with each other for quite some time, and when I tell you that he's guilty of some really bad misconduct and some really bad criminal acts against me, and violating my rights so many times that it's you know, I start losing track of how many times. You'll understand after, if you give a commitment to watching these videos, why this is not slander. This is not being rude. This is just being dead serious honest with him. It's not somebody losing their temper, just getting you know, pissed off, doesn't have composure. He's literally earning every single bit of this. Again, it's not slander. It's not you know, disrespect. It's just calling it like it is. This is the second one that went south on me. I took a ton of videos to prove it. I also took a video of the injury it caused my foot. He put it on extremely tight, overcompensating for the fact that he felt the other officer had put it on too loose. So of course he goes overboard the other direction. And I'm made to suffer. I've got a, you know, freaking blister and an open sore kind of thing on the back of my Achilles. Okay, so that's the end of that one, and I believe that's the end of the road here. What's going on? It shows that there's more, but it's not showing more. And that's interesting. It should be messages right there if it's still scrolling. It's reflecting like there's a lot of them, in fact. Okay, so I help me get to the bottom, I guess. Let's see. Yeah, so now I'm at the bottom. I'll just go backward, I suppose, until we catch back up. And you see the amount of text messaging we're doing. You're going to see a little bit later how he basically says text messaging is not adequate form of communication, and it becomes a source of such contention that he goes and reports to the judge that I'm not responding to him because what I'm doing is texting him, which you see he has absolutely no problem with receiving and making texts. In fact, it's some really, you know, bizarre stuff that he goes and tells the judge and has this huge argument that I'm going to play for you. And you're going to see that it just is ludicrous what he says and then what he actually ends up doing.